This is the Upgrade Yourself podcast, where you'll learn actionable steps to enhance all areas of your life and design a life that you love. Here are your hosts, Chris and Diana Bryant.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Upgrade Yourself. Today's topic is how to bring more balance in your life.
This is something that a lot of people don't do, and not on purpose. They either don't think about it, they don't realize the extent of balance, and it's more than just like a work-life balance that a lot of people think about when they hear balance. It's all areas. It's what defines work, what defines, your personal time. It's not just going home and relaxing, making sure that you are relaxing. Are you spending enough time with your family? Are you having enough recreation time? Are you having enough focus on your mental health and things like that? And so many people aren't doing it. So that this episode is for all those people out there that need that balance, which is most of us.
Right. And one of the things that I actually teach people when I'm coaching them, especially in this area that is bringing more balance to your life, is to visualize their life as riding a bicycle, right? In order for you to have a very balanced life and a smooth ride, you need to have both wheels, functioning.
The same size.
Exactly.
Yeah, balanced.
Otherwise, you're going to have a very crooked and bumpy ride. So that's why it is important that you guys start thinking of your life of something that needs to be in balance. If you're lacking joy or happiness in your life, that means that probably your life is not in balance. Because if you have a successful career, but your marriage is falling apart, or you are not enjoying life as it is because you're always busy and you're always running, that means you don't have joy in life,
And that one area, like you could be great in all areas of your life except for one is really bad, and that could bring the rest of them down,
right,
with it.
Absolutely. So. And that's something that we do with Chris. I would say on a monthly basis almost, that we evaluate all our areas. We make sure we're actually having balance. So we're very excited today to share with you those practical steps that we have applied in our own life and that they have worked for us. So the first thing is to define what balance means to you. It's important that you have a clear meaning of what a balanced life is to you. So what is balanced to us may not be balanced to you. We maybe need a little bit more of recreation, or Chris and I don't have kids. So that's something that doesn't even appear on our list to have a balance in life. So that's something that you need. If you're single, you need to sit down and actually evaluate what it is that those areas of life are for you and how you can bring more balance to it. And if you're married, that's something you have to do with your spouse to make sure you're bringing that quality life, not just for yourself, but as a couple as well.
Yeah, it's important for both partners to be on the same page. If one person's very determined in this and the other person's not, it can be difficult and it can create challenges. So yeah, sit down with your better half and come to those decisions and make sure that you're on the same page with it.
Right. And it's important to ask questions like, are we spending too much time at work? Are we focusing too much on working on our business or whatever it is, and we're not paying too much attention to our children? And or are we not enjoying life? Are we not having date nights as a couple? And that's what's causing us to have issues in a relationship. So all these kind of things is where you need to start defining what the balance means to you, and evaluate every single area of your life and make sure that everything that you're doing have a purpose and a reason, right? Like when you are enjoying life, when you're, having those Sundays and recreation with your family or whatever it is, that you are conscious about it, that you're present in the moment, because that's also something that helps you enjoy the balance in life and is to be present.
That's so important, especially with, everybody's got their phones all the time. It's so important to switch this thing to airplane mode, shut it off completely, and just be present in the moment. Because you could be like, hey, I'm having, family time. We, watch a movie every Friday night. And it's like, that's your only family time. First off, you're not talking to anybody. And second, are you there? And even then, are you in the movie? Because a lot of people, they're on their phone while they're watching a movie.
Right.
Just whatever you do, be present. Wherever you are, be there.
Yep. And I think it's because we're in a society right now that we need to be constantly fed, constantly. We need to be rewarded, right? And we need to be consuming constantly, that completely distracts us from our life. So that's why you have to just be very conscious about those decisions that you're making and defining what balance is to both of you as a couple, or for you if you're single. Once again, make sure you understand what that balance means to you. And since with Chris we do it so often, we're gonna create a downloadable for you where we're gonna, it's like a worksheet, a workbook I would call it, where you will be able to find a step by step how to bring that balance to your life. And in there we're gonna put the analogy of the bicycle. So there is going to be a circle in that downloadable that you're going to see. And in that circle, I'm going to include all the areas of life. So you can actually evaluate it, and it can help you determine what areas are out of balance. So I'm going to leave the link in the description below, and in the podcast, they can find it
in the show notes.
So make sure you guys get a copy of that. And yeah.
That brings us to point 2. The second point is to decide to make a change and then set clear goals. When I say decide to make a change, when you decide from everything from which shirt you're going to wear in the morning to which job or jobs you're going to apply for and everything in between, you need to decide to want to give focus to a balance in your life. You need to tell yourself, okay, this is what I'm going to do, period. It's going to happen. Just as sure as I'm going to pick out this red plaid shirt for work, or I'm going to apply for this job or that job, you're going to set a focus and a priority to create a balance in your life. And it's important to create measurable goals as well. Something that we do, Dinah mentioned it before, we go through this once a month, but once a year is like our big one. Right around New Year's, every year, it's like our favorite thing now to do. We'll go to a coffee shop, and we block off the entire day. Sometimes it bleeds into 2 days because we're a little ambitious with what we're working on. And we will have a sheet for each area of life. Okay, this one is careers, my business and Dinah's ministry and the nonprofit. Here's a sheet for family. Here's a sheet for recreation. What are our goals? What do we want to get done this year? And that's a huge part of who we are. And we make sure, okay, listen, from the comfort and confines of the coffee shop, sitting here with our caffeine fix, what does happiness look like? And we also evaluate what happened the year before.
Right. Yep.
Last year, did we hit the goals? What didn't we do? What do we have to work on more? And having those goals and having it clearly defined on a sheet of paper or Google Docs now, we're getting digital. It's a constant reminder that, are we on track? And you take a look at that. Don't just look at it once a year. Look at it monthly and say, how are we doing? Are we checking things off this list? Are we, meeting these goals? And another way to hit those goals is to work those things into your morning and your night routine. Whole other video. We already did a podcast on that. You can watch that here if you're watching on YouTube, or that's in the show notes in the description. But yeah, and it's important also to prioritize things. So what's more important, hitting these goals or checking social media for like 45 minutes to an hour a day? It's very easy to get distracted. We talked about it already. But prioritize your goals. A great way to do it, and Dinah kind of turned me onto this, is like a vision board. It can be anything from an album that you have on your phone and you just save images to a little album that's on your phone, or a physical board. We had for a while like a cork board, and we would change it once a quarter roughly once we start hitting these goals that we set. And we try to set kind of ambitious goals, but you put it somewhere that you can see it every day. You want to talk a little about vision boards? Because you're like
absolutely.
the queen.
I love vision boards because it's a visual reminder every single day of what you have said to yourself you were going to get done. And one of the things that I will mention that has a lot to do with what Chris has been talking about is when you are setting those goals, remember always that the main focus here is to bring balance to your life. So what you want to make sure is to evaluate and make sure that you are achieving different goals in every single area of your life. If you're focusing just in one area, yes, you're going to be very successful in that area, but the other areas will start lacking. Anything that you don't give it attention to will start falling apart. So the vision board, the way we create it as well is and we can probably do a podcast about it too because there is so much to teach about it, but it's you also separate it in every single area of life, and then you bring images that encourage you, that motivate you, that inspire you to stay focused on whatever it is that you're planning to do. And it serves as a reminder throughout the year. So definitely a topic that we need to discuss later, but that's one of the tools that help us stay motivated, inspired, and on track throughout the year. Okay, now for point 3, it's important that you make intentional and conscious changes in your life. And always remember that whatever your brain tells your body, that is what is going to happen. So that's why in your brain, you have to consciously make that decision that you're going to bring those changes in your life. And it's important that you think of those changes on a day by day, and I will say minute by minute basis. Like incorporate reminders in your day to day. Like for example, with Chris, when we're working, sometimes we are so focused that we forget to have lunch, or we forget to have snacks, or drink water, or get up and stretch. So what we are doing to help each other is putting reminders on our cell phone that remind us when to get up and stretch, or go and get a healthy snack, or drink more water, whatever it is. But we help each other with that. So we evaluate not just on a monthly basis or even weekly basis, but on a minute by minute basis. We're making conscious decisions that we are bringing that balance into our life. And also schedule time to evaluate. It's important that you evaluate your life and the goals that you set up at the beginning of the year, or the goals you're setting up today. Don't just write them down and forget about them, because you will forget about them. It's important that you actually review them and evaluate them we do it on a monthly basis, but at the beginning we used to do it at a weekly basis just to make sure we were on track of everything. And, we make sure we incorporate on our morning routine, on our night routine, all those things that we know are going to help us bring more balance into our life.
Yeah, and that brings us to the actionable steps of the episode. So we always like to give you homework. So your first step is to define what balance means to you, and then evaluate your current areas of life. And you can use the downloadable in the description or show notes to get you started.
And for the second step is to decide to make a change. Then set clear goals in every area.
And then finally make intentional and conscious changes. So you have to actually execute on this. So that was the episode for this week. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up or a nice rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to the podcast. And that's it. We will see you next week.
We'll see you next week.